Close up, a mirror reflecting a face frozen in time. Frame, a calendar on the wall where the pages are never torn off again. We have dreamed for centuries of the elixir of immortality and the conquest of aging. But what if science tomorrow really turns off the aging mechanism? Welcome to a world where death from old age becomes merely a historical term. At first glance, this is the absolute triumph of the human mind. No more joint diseases, wrinkles, or fading. You will look 25 years old forever. Imagine, endless youth, energy, and health. It seems like paradise on earth. But let's look behind this beautiful facade. What will happen to the planet when people stop dying of old age? The first thing we will face is massive overpopulation. Hospitals won't be filled with the elderly, but the birth rate won't disappear anywhere. Every new child is born into a world from which no one leaves. Imagine cities where streets turn into impassable anthills. The planet's resources, water, food, energy, will begin to melt away rapidly. The economy will collapse in the very first decades. Pension funds will disappear as unnecessary, since people will have to work forever. Or conversely, no one will be able to get a job because older staff never leave it. Imagine an office where your boss has been working for 300 years and has no intention of retiring. Career growth stops forever. The younger generation finds themselves trapped at the very bottom of the social ladder. They have no chance to take the places of their elders because the elders don't age and don't die. This will give birth to the most fierce age conflict in history. Society will split into those who manage to secure a place in the sun and eternal newcomers. A new caste system will appear, based not on money, but on your date of birth. And what will happen to the institution of marriage and family? The vow, "until death do us part," will lose all meaning. How can you love a person forever if horizons of perception change over time? People will start getting divorces not after 5 or 10 years, but after a century of shared routine. The accumulated fatigue from each other will turn into a psychological hell. Loneliness will become even deeper, even among billions of living people. And human memory? Our brain is not designed to store information forever. Imagine being 300 years old and barely remembering your childhood. Personalities will begin to erase under the pressure of giant arrays of memories. We will begin to lose our minds simply from the overload of time. To avoid going crazy, people will have to voluntarily erase part of their memory. But then who are you? Without a past, a person loses themselves. The attitude towards risk and danger will also change. When you have eternity ahead of you, why take risks? Society will become incredibly conservative and cowardly. No one will want to change the established order because millennia of stability lie ahead. Science and progress may freeze because the drive to make it during your short life will disappear. Why hurry to make great discoveries if you have infinity ahead of you? Art, literature, and music will lose their edge. Mortality is what gave value to every single moment. When time is infinite, it depreciates to zero. Why value a sunset if you've already seen it 100,000 times? Why love if an endless succession of faces lies ahead? But let's remember accidents and catastrophes. The abolition of aging does not mean absolute immortality. If you get hit by a car or fall off a cliff, you will perish. And the fear of death from accident will increase a millionfold. People will become pathologically afraid to leave their homes. Cities will turn into sterile, fortified bunkers. Every step will be calculated by supercomputers to avoid the slightest injury. Life will turn into endless, paranoid survival for the sake of preserving this very eternal youth. Governments will introduce the strictest control over the birth rate. The right to conceive a child will become the highest privilege that must be earned. Parents will be obliged to wait for the death of someone from the older members of society to get a license for a child. This will give birth to a black market of lives and illegal childbirths. Children will become outcasts in a world of immortal old people. Resource wars will become permanent, but they will be fought to exhaustion. Why kill an enemy if you can simply isolate them for all eternity? New forms of punishment will appear. Life imprisonment will become literal, lasting for thousands of years. Imagine isolation in a dark cell that lasts for centuries. This is worse than any death. Ironically, mortality is precisely what makes us human. Our vulnerability forces us to empathize, love, and create. If we stop aging, we may lose our humanity itself. We will turn into cold-blooded biological robots fixated on preserving our form. Evolution will stop because natural selection will disappear. Nature's mistakes will no longer be washed away by time. We will get stuck in a biological dead end of our own creation. And yet, each of us deep down wants this. We look in the mirror and search for the first wrinkle with horror. We pay billions to the beauty industry to cheat time. We are ready to accept any risks just to prolong our youth for another couple of years. The paradox is that we crave what can destroy us. Humanity is like a child reaching for a dangerous toy. We want to defeat death without thinking about the consequences of victory. But nature always presents the bill. There is no such thing as free immortality. You will have to pay for it with freedom, novelty, and soul. Look at your hands right now. There are traces of lived years on the skin, small scars, the history of your life. This is proof that you are growing, changing, and moving forward. Aging is not a system bug, it is its final, deep chord. It is the passing of the torch to those who follow behind. Without the departure of the old, the truly new cannot be born. If a tree never shed its old bark, it would die. So why do we think people are an exception to this rule? The question is not whether we will be able to conquer aging. Science will sooner or later find this key. The question is whether we will be ready to live in the world we are so desperately trying to create. Are you ready to carry the burden of eternity on your shoulders? Time is the most valuable resource precisely because it comes to an end. Think about this the next time you look at the running hands of a clock. Subscribe, there are still many topics ahead that will make your blood run cold. See you.